What's up, Juventini? Welcome back to the AJ's Here channel dedicated to Juventus, and we're going to spend a little time talking about the Azzurri today as well during international break. Oh my god, do we have stuff to talk about. Concept kits, Gigi Buffon, rumor mill, international break and rumors. Oh my god, man. But we're going to have a lot of fun. It's myself, it's Trim. Trim, how you doing today, brother?
Good, man. Good. It's a long weekend, as you know, for us Canadians, so
Yes.
get to enjoy an extra long weekend here with a day off on the Monday. So looking forward to it. It's our Thanksgiving, which I know our friends down south kind of chuckle at because it's at a weird time of the year for them, right? They got theirs coming up next month, but no, it's the best time of the year for food. So looking forward to a lot of eating this weekend. Hopefully, don't overdo it. I still got to go out on the ice tomorrow, otherwise I'll be rolling around out there. So.
Still going out on the ice tomorrow, eh?
Yeah.
Oof, that could be I'd anticipate a slow hockey game on a Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah, there will be a lot of meat sweats tomorrow. There will be a lot of probably some hungover players. You know how it is. But
A lot of pushing your teammates with the stick ahead, just giving them that extra little bit of momentum on those skates.
yeah,
There you go.
for sure. Tarps will be sliding me around the ice tomorrow if he's watching. I know he's probably going to be pushing me out there, so we'll see.
Speaking of tarps, leaving us hanging on EAFC 25 Rush last night. I'll be 15 minutes, 45 minutes go by, an hour go by. We had a lot of fun, though. Justin and I ended up connecting, and it's tough with all of us in the Army chat there, in the private chat with our members, trying to get us all teed up and lined up because of the different time zones. But man, we're at least having a lot of fun with that on EAFC 25. I finally have got Gigi Buffon in my EAFC 25 Ultimate Team, and oh my god, it's a beautiful thing. Del Piero, though, okay, you know what? I tried not to do this, okay, on Thanksgiving, okay?
Right.
Thanksgiving week, and I tried not to do this, Trim, but, like, they always got to do this to me. Another day and another day, even on Thanksgiving weekend. I wanted to go without having a day, but I got to put one out there. Why do they insist, EA Sports, on putting in Del Piero with no hair? The bald version of Del Piero. Come on, EA.
It just hits differently. It hits differently with the hair, man. I know. Like, what are they doing? I saw that too, and I was like, I don't get it, man.
Of all the eras of Del Piero, they go with the bald one. I understand 2006, the Azzurri and everything, but come on. If you're talking Del Piero, it's the long flowing hair, okay, when he was at his best battling for a Ballon d'Or 97-98. That is the Del Piero version, okay? So EA, figure it out. But Buffon, oh man, love having Buffon in my EAFC Ultimate Team. And by the way, we got to talk a little bit about Gigi Buffon, okay?
Yeah.
First, though, before we get to Gigi Buffon, because we're going to pull it up here, we're going to have some fun with some of these picks and everything, because this concept kit, like I said, we got concept kits to talk about. Everybody, what's your thought on this bad boy? Because Trim put us out. Trim loves this, okay? You guys,
Love is a strong word. I don't know about love, but it's cool, man. I think it's all right.
What are you rating this thing out of a 10?
Okay, rating wise, okay, I'll dock some points for the Italian flag on the sleeves. I know you're not a big fan of that, but I like the mashup between like the third kit print. The color is cool. I like that. And like I mentioned to you guys yesterday, that's why I sent it. I said as a lifestyle kit, I wouldn't wear it on the field like as an everyday like season kit. Definitely not. I know it's a little bit out there, but come on, we had a pumpkin kit for fuck's sakes as one of our kit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I've seen a lot worse. That's for sure.
I mean, the fact that we've seen a lot worse doesn't all of a sudden make me, ecstatic about this thing. And the green, white, and red cuffs is just brutal on a gold kit. Like
It's the
it's just
color with yeah, it
it's
doesn't match,
brutal.
right?
I gotta say, it's and maybe it's because of them picking the exact same background color to put this kit on, but it looks like it needs more black. Like it just needs a little bit more.
Yeah.
Um, it's not a bad idea if they're trying to do something and go back towards that 2010 gold that we had there, just as a throw up, like once in a while. But I gotta say, it's not really doing much for me, man. It, it maybe a 6 out of 10 for
Okay.
me
All right. Well,
personally.
we'll take it. We'll take it.
So we got some raids in here. Forza Juve 6 out of 10. RB comps meh. Tarps 8 out of 10. Dragons 7.5. We've got a 5 from RB comps. Actually, the more he looks at it, goes down to a 3. So there you go. The more I look at it going down to a 3, yeah, you know what? I got to get rid of it so that we just don't,
Oh,
it doesn't,
boy.
my score doesn't go down from a 6. But this is one of the big things. I couldn't believe how many people were just raving about this thing online. I'm like, this is probably, of all the concept kits that we see put out there by people,
Yeah.
because there are some amazing concept kits that go out.
Mm-hmm.
This to me looks like the classic AliExpress Juve kit you might get that should have Gucci logos all around. Like that's what it looks like to me. Okay, but nonetheless, to each their own. But like I said, we were gonna talk about Gigi. How I picked him
Mm-hmm.
up in my ultimate team, but look at this. And of course, for those of you that have seen the short I put out, I love this at the bottom. Do you agree with that decision? So Gigi Buffon getting the best goalkeeper of all time rating from a committee consisting of 18 goalkeepers, including Manuel Neuer, Julio Cesar, and Peter Schmeichel, just to name a few. Do you agree with that? This is the easiest decision I'd ever have to make. I don't need any time at all. It's not even, it was never even a debate for me. Hilarious. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed that short because I've been dying to put that one out. And now that we see this, because every time this debate comes up and you hear the names Neuer, Casillas, and Casillas I understand, but even Yashin, like I have to laugh at some of the people that put out Yashin that haven't even ever seen the guy play. Like we're talking so far back, and yes, he's the only goalkeeper to win a Ballon d'Or. People need to not make me have to disrespect Yashin because, again, a different time, completely different game. Okay,
Yeah.
I understand because of the fact he's the only goalkeeper to ever win the Ballon d'Or, but sports science has come such a long way. Goalkeepers through Buffon's one of many Buffon's eras have had to deal with them ramping up goals, doing everything in their power to make this game more goal scoring so that it's more entertaining, so that they could get more people watching it, etc. They had to deal with balls like the Teamgeist in Germany that had so much movement, the Jubilani that you didn't know where the hell that ball was gonna go. And through it all, Buffon still stood tall. Casillas, I understand the argument for him, but listen, they played tiki-taka through that prime, and you know what? The other team couldn't get the damn ball, okay? And maybe they had to do that with Casillas because a guy like Del Piero owned him through his career. But Buffon, we didn't have to hold on to the ball for 99% of the game. It's Buffon. Always will be. Okay? It's GG. Trim?
Yeah, man, there's really not much to add to this. Like you said, you just read that question at the bottom, do you agree? Like before you even read the first letter in the word do, it's like, yeah, like it's not even a question, right? Like again, you can make shouts for Casillas, and I actually agree. For me, he's the second guy in in that sphere of top goalkeepers, like compared to Neuer as well. Like nothing against Neuer, he was a great keeper, but I've always rated Casillas higher just because of what he's done, his pedigree, and just when it came down to when it mattered most, for me, these two guys were the two guys that were the most clutch, which was Casillas and
Yeah.
Buffon. But Buffon, like again, even putting our Italian heritage and bias aside, like you'd be pressed to find other nations fans to who've watched the game and watched all the years go by and seen Buffon play, and not one of them has anything bad to say. Just such a class guy on and off the field. Like just it's hard not to pick him as number one.
It this guy's entire career was a prime. Okay, like he didn't. When you're talking, they're talking like, oh, in their primes. Well, that's a thing. If you're talking about Casillas, you would be looking at a prime Casillas, but Buffon's entire career pretty much was his prime.
Yeah.
Nobody else comes close to the longevity of Gigi Buffon. He's a freak, a complete freak. Yeah. Anyone who argues that it's one of those other guys would pick Gigi Buffon. Okay? And now we see that they have. And I love it. And I love it because so many of us have been fighting this fight for so damn long. Look at this. RB Comp said he heard someone say Ter Stegen better than Buffon. What?
No.
Holy smokes. In certain places, the weed has become too powerful. Okay? So powerful that you get people saying stuff like this, and that's when I start to get concerned, because people could do whatever they want in their free time, but when it gets that potent, that strong, we have to take a step back as society and realize what the heck are we doing, because we are actually cooking people. Okay, so take it easy. But Gigi Buffon, the one and only, love seeing that, and love seeing him with the Azzurri in his role and everything. Speaking of the Azzurri, oh my God, you guys. Leave it to the Azzurri to take something so straightforward, okay, and turn it into a complete shit show. Oh my God. So this game against Belgium, first off, Cambiasso. Fantastic. Fantastic, okay?
Yeah.
So Cambiasso, great start. Fantastic start. Him and Di Marco, they get off to a red-hot start. Italy finds themselves 2-0 up, smooth sailing. Pellegrini decides we're going to make a challenge, an awful challenge at that, gets sent off, red card. And I'm thinking, oh my God, you're cruising and you're going to allow them in. Fantastic first goal for Belgium. Well worked, nice hit immediately after that. But again, leave it to the Azzurri to do this, And, man, Nations League, I don't care all that much. I think there's still way more positives in terms of what Spalletti showed us at the Euros compared to where we're moving in now. But great to see certain things in that game. Cambiasso had a fantastic performance, scored the opener through hard work and, perseverance, flying in the third there, getting to that ball, not initially, but making sure it goes in the back of the net. Cambiasso's fantastic. We are going to talk about Cambiasso and Juventus, and he's in one of the major kind of hot takes that was flying around with the rumor mill that is during international break. But what did you think about the Azzurri, that game against Belgium?
So full disclosure, I didn't get a chance to see it live. Obviously, I was working, but I watched the highlights, and I mean, the one thing that really stood out to me from what I noticed in going back to the Euro is that midfield and how badly we miss Tonali. Like, he is awesome when he's in there. Like, I really appreciate the guy, what he does and the way he plays. And you could just see like the little 1-2 touches on the sideline there with Di Marco and the changes of play in Fratesi. Like, they set up and created so many opportunities. So I really appreciated what I saw from the highlights from Sandro Tonali. And I mean, another thing too, I was just kind of thinking about this on the fly this morning, is our boy Retegui. Like, just thinking back to even when he was, there was a chance and rumors about him, maybe Juve looking at him this summer. And I remember saying, I'm like, this guy's just been a machine all year so far. Like, and of course he has to go to those snakes in Atalanta. But anyway, even him, like, just when, like, he hasn't come up in the big moments just yet for the Azzurri, but when he's playing, he's on his game, he's getting chances. He 9 times out of 10 buries, like, he's doing well. So those are the two things that jump out and stand out to me the most. But also in the comments, I'm reading about Donnarumma. I don't know with this guy. Like I love the guy. I want to go to bat for him, but his play as of late and his form has been dipping over the years. And a lot of us fans, specifically like even my brother-in-law mentions it. Like he's a big PSG fan, but you could
Oh,
just see it's almost like he's unhappy there, but like you can't blame that on his play. And I know like in Champions League over the last couple seasons, like he's had a lot of blunders. And I mean, I don't know what's going on with him. We gotta figure something out with Donnarumma because don't get me wrong, we've got like Di Gregorio waiting in the wings, Vicario. We've got a lot of good keepers, but just something is up. Something's up with Gigi. We got to figure it out. I don't know what it is. Like I know we've talked about this and you've mentioned like you still put him in there when it's a big game and it's like the national stage. He tends to come up big, but there's a lot of questionable errors and blunders that he's been making, and I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I'm not really worried about Donnarumma. Donnarumma can make a mistake here and there, but he's always massive for the Azzurri. I think I understand questioning on the second goal and everything like that. And we see the comment in here that Di Gregorio, I'm 100% sure, saves that second goal that the Azzurri conceded. I don't really think goalkeeping is an issue for the Azzurri. And if we have to go to Di Gregorio, no problems whatsoever. I'm thinking more along the lines of the other things going on with the Azzurri. Certain guys, I think maybe just need to finally get that cut. I still have question marks around Spalletti because of the fact that Fede Chiesa, it seems, is not gonna have his way in just simply because he doesn't fit in this style that Spalletti is moving towards. That's a big question mark for me because you're going with a setup that is typically more stronger geared towards strikers, and it's one of the weakest striker eras for the Azzurri, probably arguably ever. Okay,
Yeah.
Chiesa's got a knock. I understand that, but Spalletti spoke in his actual words, spoke to the difficulty of fitting him in with where they're trying to go. It's been this long thing about positionally. Can he play in a second striker role, etc.? It's yet to be seen how Spalletti does that, but that's going to be a big question mark. Is getting him going because he's got to be big. He's one of your most dangerous players up in the attack. Retegi's been doing good, but he also has had games where it hasn't really come up. It's more about getting the whole group. The midfield is much stronger with Tonali, but Ricci had a beautiful showing. He made one sketchy play where it almost bit him, and it was in our area, trying to dribble out, just being crazy. Like, there's times where you're way too cool and composed on the ball, but man, Ricci's showing a lot of chops. That kid's got eyes on him, and rightfully so. That's a good player. Fagioli was able to get some mints in here. The midfield has the potential to be very strong. Pellegrini, I've always said I like Pellegrini. He's way too streaky though, and I always said he's so streaky. And when it's bad, when it's on the wrong end of those streaks, it's really bad. The start of his season has been a complete disaster for club and now country. I'm thinking he's running out of shots. If I'm looking at guys that you probably got to stop going to, his name's going to be high up there on the forefront. You know?
Yeah.
It's the way it is. You can't make mistakes like that. And again, it's the Nations League, so we're not, super critical of it. But these are the chances where you got to state your claim so that when the big stuff rolls around, Euros, World Cup qualifiers, etc., you get that trust. You earn that trust. Pellegrini hasn't earned much of anything for me with this Azzurri, you know? So, yeah, there's some things to look forward to, but there's some things to address too. I still think overall in the attack, it's pretty tame, I'd say. And we could be a little bit more devastating. Fratesi in the midfield, he comes up with a lot in the attack, but this particular game, I don't know if it was just me. I didn't like a lot of his decisions, especially in the final third there. I know that some people are saying, well, that handball, that was a questionable one. That was an iffy one. I personally could see it going either way for the call, and I wasn't too hung up about it. The Pellegrini thing, to put your team in that situation when you're absolutely rolling, was brutal. But Fratesi overall, he does great work for the Azzurri. The midfield is becoming a strength there. At the back, man, I don't know if it's just me. I still have questions about Bastoni. Like in the heart there at the back. I don't know, man. I don't know. Is it just me? Chat, where are you guys at with Bastoni? I've always thought the ratings could be a little bit inflated there when it comes to Bastoni. I don't know. I don't have a lot of trust there, if I'm being 100% honest. What do you think, Trim?
It's almost like by default they kind of put him as the guy because they view everyone else as kind of not there yet. But I mean, we're biased. We see it with Gatti, like especially this season. I mean, Gatti, I don't want to compare him to Bastoni because Bastoni is still ahead of him. But like I still feel like Gatti could be put in that position and do a job for the Azzurri.
I'd play him ahead of Di Lorenzo. If one of your three center backs is going to be Di Lorenzo, I'd probably play Gatti ahead of him. The way Gatti's played this year. Yeah, yep. But Di Lorenzo's having a good showing for Napoli, but it's hard for a lot of people to erase what went down at the Euros with Di Lorenzo. He's going to be on an uphill battle to kind of regain, again, trust, right? It's the way it is. But Gatti's been solid this season. He can have a say. You've got Buongiorno. Buongiorno, I've said for a while, in the heart for the back three is probably where I'd go. Speaking of guys, I don't think really should ever get a go. Is Mancini's probably one of them at the back?
No, I would.
Like, if we're talking for the Azzurri, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No. Okay. But yeah, there's some questions there around the Azzurri. But overall feelings, it's moving in the right direction now after the Euro showing and what was going on. I still gotta say, overall with Spalletti, I'm left with some question marks. And it's just more of a we'll see. I don't have a lot of faith in this guy, if I'm being 100% honest and brutally honest. I don't know. How do you feel about Spalletti?
Well, so it's funny. I'm kind of laughing in my head because I'm just thinking, if there were other options, let's say, out there. And I know I've been throwing this out there because couldn't stand the guy when he was our manager. But I mean, honestly, I don't know, man. I feel like Allegri, if he gets in there, if he can find his way in there, he's a tournament coach. I could see him, when it comes down to one game knockouts. I feel like he could actually help us out, but it should be pretty funny. I don't know. But then the whole Chiesa situation comes up again, formation, 3-5-2, all that, right? But Spalletti specifically, sometimes I'm watching and I almost wonder, what is he trying to achieve? And it's like, I know his game and how he wants to play, but the guys that he brings in and calls up and puts out there, like Pellegrini's, like sometimes bringing in Mancini, Cristante, it's like, no, we need new blood in there. Shout out to Moise Kean, actually, because I'd like to see him get a go there because he's been playing well this year to start with Fiorentina, and it'd be nice to just see him.
We're going to talk about players and where they've gone and how they're doing and everything, because that was another little video I put out there just for people that might not know or what they're saying. But the Max thing's funny. I like Matt here saying, throwing his suit off in the World Cup final. Please give it to me. Listen, the one thing about, Matt, we're hearing a lot with Allegri and Man United and whatnot. It's just, again, these past Max has come up a bit in current discussions over the past week, even just in our team chat and everything. And I just say, like, the past, what, 4 years now, 3-4 years have been such a mess at Juve from the highest point, ahead of
Yeah.
the players and coaching, that it's just been such an absolute mess. But like a guy like that having his say over talent around Italy and just picking his side, I I would say it's going to be completely different to the 2.0 that we saw at Juventus and whatnot.
Yeah.
Because guys that come in for the Azzurri anyways, like when we're saying, oh, they're going to get this, they're going to get the new wave in, like this guy trusts the young guys, like it's all good. Look at Roberto Mancini. That guy came in, it was all his guys, and we're like, oh yeah, he's giving the guys a shot that needed to get shots, and this is the way we need to do it. And then all of a sudden, after that Euros, he stuck with the guys until we went right back to rock bottom, right back to square one. So at the end of the day, favoritism, complacent, anything like that, it kind of happens anyways, naturally, with
Hmm.
the Azzurri, no matter who goes in there. And you're going to see it now with Spalletti as well, because we're seeing it with friggin' Di Lorenzo.
Yeah.
And there is something there personally, in my opinion, between Locatelli and Spalletti, because based on how he started this season, he's higher than a lot of those guys that are in that, that list. But nonetheless, it always happens.
Yeah.
Favoritism, this complacency thing, it's like the hardest thing for the Azzurri coaches to do, but that just happens. Again, as far as his play style, not wanting to see the Azzurri play like that, etc. If you're looking at European tournaments too, and just tournaments in general, it comes down to the strength of your squad. It comes down to the talent that you possess, the strength of your squad, and how you're going to line up and how you're going to play. And if you're not able to control a game and dominate that ball, chances are you're going to have to clamp down for a portion of that game. The Azzurri have done that historically. Okay?
Yeah.
It's one of the things we're known for is the strength of the defense. I remember having a golden era for the Azzurri and being run and gun and coming out with nothing, with the
Yeah.
best side, because we played like, and I'm not saying that's why we didn't get anything, but Jesus, if I could have gone back in time, if we could have just clamped down when we needed to, and not being able to with that squad was crazy. It's wild to me that that team walked away with nothing, but there's something said that has to be said around these tournaments and these games. Like, you've got to be able to do that. And you always hope that your offensive talent and everything kind of takes you above. But for me, I really don't care who we get as manager. Like, there's certain guys I don't think are anywhere near getting that call. But right now, I think it would be a lot of the feelings that we still associate to 2.0, telling
Yeah.
people no, obviously, and all of
Of
that.
course.
But I think there's going to come a time, everybody. I'm going to say there's going to be a time I think he's going to get the call. I think he's going to
You
get the
think so,
call.
eh? Yeah, no, I've been saying it for a bit too. I think just because he's no longer tied to us, and I mean, yeah, he could easily go and find another club team, but I really feel like he's holding out for that gig. I think he really wants a shot at it, and like I said, I again never liked him for Juve, never. Like first round for 1.0, obviously we all appreciated that, but when there were the shouts to bring him back for 2.0, I was one of the first. I was like, why? Like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. He just strikes me as that guy that a lot of controversy, a lot of negativity towards the hiring. Then all of a sudden he goes in there and just clamps down Corto Muso, and we just, backdoor our way to something, Euro or World Cup. I don't know. It's got his name.
It's funny too, because a manager that doesn't get looked at in that way, that gets a lot of people fired up and they're like, oh, I love him, I love him, is Conte. Conte is clamped down.
Yeah,
Conte is clamped down. What he did with that Italy squad, like, it was full clamp down. Down counter with Graziano, Pelle, and Eder, for God's sakes. Giaccherini, like, you do what you got to do with who you have. So at the end of the day, the players speak. But for the Azzurri, promising, and I do like Sweaty's comment, because honestly, it's still waiting for Chiesa and Barella to kind of enter the mix and everything, and we were flying to start this one. Belgium also has to be said for me. It's not
good. It's not good.
They kind of stink, okay? But speaking of the Azzurri, Cambiaso, we talked about his performance, okay, and what he's doing. There's a lot of praise in the chat here for Cambiaso, rightfully so. We get news about Cambiaso, but we got to link this to the rumors, okay? We got to put this all together, because international break and the rumors are the mercado, the summer mercado, times like 1,000 as far as how big a shit show with certain rumors and the rumor mill and everything that gets going, okay? Defense has been highly talked about, obviously, with what went down with Gleison Bremer, okay? And his season ending. You have Jorel Atto, a lot of steam picking up around this 18-year-old, but Ajax will not release without 30 million euros. This 18-year-old coming into the first team, like, immediately, like, that's the pickup. That might be a pickup for the future. And at 30 million euros, I don't necessarily know or can see myself seeing Juve maybe strike. Definitely not in January. I would think that there's going to be, it sounds like there's going to be a little bit of a race for this player come the summer. I think Juve might be talking, okay? And there would be interest there and whatnot, but I still don't see this guy coming in for this second half of the season. At 30 million euros, no. The priority for me has always been the same. You guys know it. We'll get to it. Then you get to Skriniar. Here we go.
Oh, jeez.
Milan Skriniar. There's the obvious fact of him playing for Merda. There's the obvious fact that he was chanting songs in the bus, like displaying the pure hatred for Juventus, which came at that time naturally, okay, between Juve players, Inter players. But I can understand the argument, okay? Guy that knows the league, experienced, coming in, you have that in your back pocket. And my argument is this. Skriniar, for 6 months, yeah, he knows the league. He doesn't know any of us. He's never been one of us. You've got a move. I was one of them. I can't remember where you stood on it, Trim, but we'll talk about this right now. There was many in the chat. There was many around. We said the loan is, if it's just a loan and it's not a sale, why not just keep Rugani around? And I'm going to stand firm. My priority still right now, based on everyone we have currently and what we need to do, is still a vice Vlahovic. So I would recall Rugani. And if it's not Rugani, I would recall Facundo Gonzalez. I would recall Muaremovic. Whoever the hell Mota is okay with, that was actually around for a bit of training camp and with our guys and whatnot. Go that route. Don't dump anything on Skriniar's. He's got like a 10 mil salary. We need PSG to pay a little bit of that too. Forget it. This guy had an ankle blow up in January. Okay. needed reconstruction of the ankle. That's nasty. Dislocated his ankle, needed surgery. Like, that's nasty for football. Just don't even bother. That's me. Trim, where are you at?
Yeah, you pretty much nailed it. I mean, the only thing I can add is just that, yeah, like to me, it would make more sense rather than going out and getting, yeah, he's older, he's got more experience, but like we just touched on, injury riddled, obviously not finding his place at PSG. So you kind of, I don't know, I wonder about conditioning and fitness level when it comes to him as well. But yeah, I know you mentioned, so touching on, would you rather recall one of the guys that we have out on loan? 100%. I'd rather just insert Rugani there, because I never had an issue with Rugani because he's exactly what he was. He was a fourth or fifth option off the bench. When he played, he was solid. Yeah, Maguire, no thanks. So yeah, no, I would much rather bring Daniele Rugani back. But you start to kind of wonder and ask yourself, okay, if that's not even being floated out there, like it's being talked about and discussed about between us, but if it's not even being floated out there in the rumor mill, then I almost wonder if it's just Motta maybe just saw him and said, you know what, he just doesn't fit my style of play. Like, it literally, that's the only thing I can think of, because like if it's not even being mentioned, then I just wonder if Motta just sees him as, yeah, he's not doesn't fit my style of play. So then you start to think, okay, like you touched on, Jarrell Hato, he's an 18-year-old kid. So yeah, we need depth and we need a body in there, but how much are you going to really rely on a guy who's 18 years old? How much has he really played? To be fair, I don't know much about him and how many minutes he's gotten at Ajax and if he's even played. Like, he's obviously got talent, but it's more of like a down the road 2-3 year project, let's say. So then you start thinking about other options. Is there other options out there, right? So yeah, like, I know we'll get to it, but like you said, for me, I don't think we're going to spend 30 million in the winter mercado. Maybe if we can get two players, but I don't think we're going to spend 30 on one player, because I know you said Hato's valued at 30. But if we were going to spend 30 million on somebody, for me, I'd spend it on a forward or a striker up front, right?
That's exactly it. But with this thing, it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Again, we're talking about moves we all saw at that time. Why? We were asking why. If you were asking why back then, if it's just a loan for Rugani, what's the point? Why not keep some of the security? Here we are. It didn't make sense at that point. You know what else didn't make sense? Going into the season with only two strikers. When last year, you literally had all three of them injured. Not at the same time, but two of them were injured at the same time. And you ran through a spell where you had no backups. You could have seen that one coming a mile away. But as far as Skriniar goes, it's a lot more than him just playing for Inter. It doesn't make sense when you have solutions that are actually part of your squad. Some may have a future potentially with you. Muharemovic might have a future with Juventus. It doesn't make sense. And I know that we had the youngster come back into the mix. Wow. His name, it always eludes me. Okay.
Oh, Felipe.
Yes.
Pedro Felipe, or I forgot his name.
Yes.
Yeah,
and I know that there's shouts for him getting in there. He could come in as coverage. Savona apparently could cover. Okay. When it comes to the forwards, though, that's one you could see coming a mile away. Okay. Yeah. Milik, and now we got worse news. You're down to just Vlahovic. I never liked the answer. You guys can go back to the Mercado daily update video shows when I was talking about it. If you're talking about Gonzalez or finding an alternative with one of the guys we had, I said I don't like it. I don't see it. But that's probably what they have in mind if they're not bringing in another striker in that summer window. That's really my only real issue with that last Mercado, was not having one more striker in that squad list, leaving it. Nonetheless, I did put out a video talking about players where they're currently at. Okay, guys that were part of the mercado, guys that fans were kind of, oh my God, we're gonna sell him. We're selling him. Like we're losing the youth, even though we, brought in we promoted Juve'S to a mainstay. He's got the 10. You signed Conceição, who's 21 years old. We got young players scattered everywhere in the lineup. Cambiaso's only 24. You got Fagioli, who's still young. Like, again, nonetheless, Illing Jr., 5 appearances, 1 goal, 127 minutes, 0 starts. And that's with Bologna, not Aston Villa, because they sent him on loan.
Yeah.
Barnechea with Valencia. Okay? 5 appearances, 2 starts, 205 minutes. Hasn't done anything wrong. Hasn't done anything to shine either. Just status quo. Dodibo. 6 appearances, but nothing in big games. And a lot of the discussion is coach doesn't trust him fully. Okay? Lacking confidence in him. From Lopetegui, apparently, according to reports. Huijsen. 4 appearances, 283 minutes. Fans there at Bournemouth, very happy with him, but he's green, is what they say. A lot of potential. So, the same discussions, okay? Sule, 8 appearances. This was the big one. Never sell Sule. Never sell him. 501 minutes. I've got just as many contributions as he does. Playing slightly better as of late, but really not doing much, okay? Moise Kean, 10 appearances, 786 minutes, 5 goals, 1 assist. Doing well. Doing well.
Not surprised, really.
But for me, I'm still fine with him going. For me, it was just having a third striker there. It didn't have to be Moise Kean. But we needed a third striker. And I can understand Juve at that time getting break-even money for Moise, just saying we need out of this situation if it doesn't work out. I can totally buy that. I get it. But I just needed a third striker on the squad list. That's all, right? But Moises doing the best out of the lot.
Yeah, who would have had that on their bingo card? I don't think many people would have thought that, right? So, I mean, it's nice to see that he's having success, but to your point, it's just didn't have to be him specifically, but of the guys that you're mentioning on this list, like if we would have held on to, let's say, him and Rugani, like just as depth and insurance. I know the knee guy would probably jump off the top rope and give me an elbow to the head for saying that because he hated Keane, but still, it's like he filled the job. Like he did his job as just being there. He would get hurt as well, but I mean, we needed somebody. We needed a third option, like we said. We didn't even get anybody, right?
Yeah.
That's, I think, Giuntoli's biggest hiccup.
And again, we're gonna keep this rolling. And don't mistake the point, okay? Because I see Dell's coming here. It's premature to judge these deals. They're all young and could explode. You're not judging the deals. It's about the uproar at the time and the feelings now as the season has gone on. The fact of the matter remains, as far as the young guys go that everybody blew a gasket over in losing and moving, it's been a non-issue. That's the point. It's been a non-issue. We made all the right moves. The only ones that didn't, right now in hindsight, are the ones almost everybody was okay with. And it was a safety net. It was not having coverage. But as far as the actual individuals that Juve decided to say goodbye to, that's not a problem. Hasn't been a problem. Calafiori, everybody's favorite get Berto wound up name, Calafiori. Calafiori's doing well. 8 appearances, 473 minutes, a goal to his name as well, a big goal in a big game for them, quickly becoming a fan favorite, playing at left back as well, but doing a good job. Yeah, Calafiori's solid. If you go back in time, 50 million is 50 million. And I'm still taking Cope Miners at that. We will talk Cope Miners, okay? Chiesa, 3 appearances, 78 minutes, 1 assist, injured again.
And a post. Throwing a post in there because I saw that happen in real time.
If we got to throw posts in, yeah, we're we're getting to things. But honestly, I'm telling you, I don't see an issue. And after all that we said, like, I never saw an issue with any of the business we did, okay? If you want to go with, so it says, okay, to be fair, Cope Miners, Juve'S, Gonzalez, and Luis don't have the stats. Well, Cope Miners actually does if his job is to create. And you look at his creation numbers, because key passes in one half of football, in 21 passes, 3 of them were key passes. I can't think of a midfielder that's done that in I don't know how many years I have to go back to, but in one half of football, coming up with 3 key passes, also generating 2 quality chances himself. Cope Miners is doing his job. Juve'S has growing to do. Juve'S has growing to do. Okay? I am not having anything, though, when it comes to Cope Miners. Gonzalez, guys, I'm going to say it. He concerns me. Gonzalez concerns me. And I kind of always had this weird feeling about him and whatnot, but overall, I liked the signing. It was Fiorentina's kind of best player at that time that we're picking him up and stuff, but Conceição is levels above any of our wingers. Levels above. And that was something a lot of us, many of us called at the Mercado. You guys remember what I said? I said, I don't care what you do with these other guys and whatnot, but Conceição, pick him up. Pick him up. I said that all Mercado. That was the name. Like, I don't care. I said, don't buy Galeno and Gonzalez. Like, if you have to go loan and then purchase, like, make sure Conceição is in the mix. Guys, levels above. But the point still stands. All these players, all this, etc. The decisions we made were fine in terms of the individuals. It's that safety net and the coverage we might have left ourselves a little bit short. I think that's fair, especially in a striker position, especially at striker. You know? Trim. The Cope Miners slander. You know, Alex is coming in right away. Are we talking about Cope slander again? Like, I don't get the Cope Miners slander. For Nico, Hanin saying can't take on his man. He won't give us much in Serie A. Dell saying Nico is amazing. What are the concerns? High work rate in both ends and quality. The concerns are a lot of bad decisions in the closed out games. I don't care about what these guys can do in open matches, like with space. I'd expect any guy at a professional level, if you're given space, to cook. I'd expect any name you put out there at that level to be able to do something when you have space. When the space is gone, I'm not happy so far with a lot of his decisions on the ball. And if you're telling me he's close to Chico, I'm going to strongly disagree. Strongly disagree that when the space is gone, he's nowhere near that. And that concerns me. That concerns me. He's got a ton of time to get it right and correct it. But it's got to be corrected. I'm expecting higher of him than I am, say, Juve'S, who's young, that still has a lot to go. Like, Nico's been in the league for a while now. Is it 4 years? 3 years? 3 years, maybe? That's still plenty. Yeah. That's still plenty. I want to see more from him. I expect to see more from him. On the ball, I haven't been the happiest. And I think the best game so far for him is that game against PSV Eindhoven, which was space for days.
Wide open. Yeah, exactly.
That's just my only thing with Nico that I want to see him elevate. But yeah, overall, in terms of the attack, I'm still fine with all these guys. And the biggest thing is, what do you do behind Vlahovic? He can't play every single game, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. But anyways, it's interesting to look back at all these guys and all these rumors and the moves through the mercado and see where everybody's at right now. For the team, Cope Miners, he's going through the exact same thing as Locatelli. And by the way, everybody, get your Storm the Barn questions in. Don't you don't have to wait. You don't have to waste any time. We've got some in here. We'll start going through them. But yeah, Cope Miners gonna go through the same thing. They're trying to evaluate the pain. It's nasty, fracturing a rib. Okay, brutal, brutal because there is no timetable, and everything hurts when you do it. I've never fractured one. I've had deep bruising in the ribs though, and like if you jogged, each step when it hits, when your foot hits the ground, it resonates.
Oh yeah.
And it's brutal. Laughing, coughing, like breathing, deep breaths. It's brutal. So a fractured one, I'd imagine it's even more intense. Trying to play through that, I'm expecting the same timetable as Locatelli. Locatelli was out for 13 days, so 2 weeks, and he missed 3 games. I'm expecting Cope Miners to be out a couple weeks. I think realistically for him, we're looking at Inter. We're looking at that match, I think, for Cope Miners. And that's a big blow for me because creative-wise, how smart this guy is on the ball, he does a lot and makes a lot happen for Juventus. The alternatives, the nice thing is Weah's back. That will help us in terms of some depth because you have no Nico Gonzalez, you have no Chico Conceição. Weah's back. That will help. He was good. He was good when he was playing before his injury. Azzurri, maybe he can provide a little bit of a spark like Mbangula did at the start, like Savona has been doing. Let's see, But Lazio, right after the break, I'm leaning towards Fagioli playing in that 10 role or Luis.
Starting?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And I'd kind of probably go Luis and put him high up. And I know, guys, trust me, I know about the mistakes and everything like that. I stand firm. The majority of what we've seen from Luis is still actually positive. And if you go back to that game against Cagliari, we didn't create anything from when Cope Miners left until Luis came in. And Vlahovic's tap-in came off a shot rebound from Luis. I would probably start Luis in that role. And I'm okay with Fagioli playing in the heart of the mid. But I'd probably go Locatelli. And to be honest, against Lazio, one of Thuram or McKennie with Luis highest up. 4-2-3-1. Weah on one side, Yildiz on the other. And Vlahovic up top. My alternative, Yildiz at the 10, Weah at right, and Mbangula at left. But I prefer having one of Fagioli or Luis in that role. What do you think? What would you do?
I actually agree. Like I would definitely say because of Coop's injury, you definitely want to move Luis higher up. Again, I know it's kind of controversial in the sense that a lot of people are down on this guy, and we see it all over the place. Wasted money on him. He's not worth it. All this stuff. It's still early, guys. Like I get it. He hasn't shown his best yet, but give the guy at least a season. Like we literally just got the guy. He has to settle into Serie A. It's a totally different game. And I think too, just trying to figure out where's the best place to put him. Obviously, you can fill a role in that 2-man pivot in the 4-2-3-1, but I'd like to see him higher up. So I actually agree with pretty much your entire lineup. The only question mark that I had was even with Weah coming back, would you start him off the hop? But I guess because of Chico being injured and Nico being out, we kind of have no choice. There's no other option really to put out on that right side. So yeah, one of Dougie or Nicolo at the 10. If not, like you said, you have the option of maybe sliding Yildiz in the 10 and Mbangula on the left, Weah on the right. but the back line will remain the same. You can take your pick of who you want as the center back pair, but I'd go with Kalulu Gatti and then put Cambiaso on the left, and then at right back Savona. Um, it's it's going to be interesting, especially with Coop. Like I wanted to kind of bring this up, like he's not playing the Lazio game, and we could say it's safe to say he's not going to play that Champions League game. But yeah, do you try and get him in that intermatch? Do you think we can? Do you think he'll be healthy enough to get in there and try to play? Because it's funny. This all ties into everybody kind of scoffing at, we didn't need Coop, spend the money on him. We didn't need Luis, spend the money on him. But the second these guys are out, you're going to see how we were, and it'll give you flashbacks of last year. Like those guys and their quality, it makes a big difference. Yeah, they're maybe not, in Coop's case, he hasn't scored a goal yet. In Luis's case, he's contributed to 2 stupid PKs, but at the end of the day, these guys have serious quality that we've been lacking. And the second you take them out, you're going to notice it. And we're going to notice it in that Lazio game to start next Saturday. So everybody's got to pump the brakes. I know I was going back and forth with our buddy Dom, the Napoli fan, because, he likes to poke fun at us. And he's saying about how, Coop got 10 goals last year. Where's his goals coming from? He's not scoring. I go, yeah, but he's not strictly brought in just to score goals. Like, yeah, obviously it would be an added bonus to us, but look at everything else he's done. Like you said, Al, he creates everything for us, and you're going to see it. You're going to see him not being there and what it means to us. So
it's got to all come together, and it's all got to work with the entire squad. That setup that Atalanta played last year is night and day to Malta's setup. It's completely different. Mm-hmm. It'll be interesting as we get more data built up to actually look at his numbers in terms of actual creation, in terms of chances that he's getting individually himself. So far, he's kind of hard done by to not be on 3 or 4 goals.
Well, exactly.
So I'm not really that concerned with the fact that it's just sitting at nothing right now, because the opportunities are there. He's hit a post 2 in Champions League. He's getting in the right areas. And like I said, for me, it's just the floodgates are going to open sooner rather than later because he's doing everything else right. So the fact that it just hasn't right now, I'm not concerned. It reminds me, not to the same degree by any means, because Ronaldo's a freak, but I remember everybody panicking when Ronaldo's like, oh man, he hasn't scored. Guess what? He finished with the quickest ever reach 100 for Juventus. Cope Miners will get his goals, okay? They're going to come. It's fine. He's doing everything else right. That's the main concern for me. I'm not worried about him. With Luis, we can't write him off completely. You can't write a guy off completely. And a couple mistakes there. Yeah, it sucks. We're still going to need this guy. He's still a quality player. Just got to find himself. It's still also fresh. I'm not concerned. What would you do against Lazio? This is one of these kind of questions. Again, as far as the injury front goes, big getting Weah and Azzurri back. I can't stress enough that the week after the international break is massive for Juventus. Lazio and Inter, your next 2 league games, things could really go sideways, potentially. For the aspirations many of us carry for this club, it could go sideways, And I still find it hard to believe for anybody that might not think Cope Miners is living up to where he needs to or whatever. I'm definitely not there with you. But if you do, I still find it hard to believe that if he were available, you would say, no, don't play him against Lazio. Like, that's the part that gets me, because if you're saying he's available, let's take the injury out of the equation. No, Cope's good. If you're saying, no, I don't start him in that game, that's crazy to me.
Yeah,
crazy.
agreed.
And that would be essentially saying that, yeah, he's been doing what he needs to. He's been doing what he needs to do for this club. The numbers, stats, they will come. They will come. But one of the questions is, how do you line up against Lazio? Sweaty says, do you have an early predicted lineup for the Lazio match? I will throw one out there of what I think we will probably get.
Okay.
I think you'll get. I'm torn on one thing that I think maybe Mota does, but we've got a lot of time until then. So I'm going to bank on Weah playing right wing. But I also had thoughts that we might go back to seeing Cambiaso as one of the wingers on the right side again. And you might see a change up at the back. I don't think we'll get that. So I'm going to say you'll see Savona, Kalulu, Gatti, Cambiaso, Di Gregorio in goal. In the middle, I think you're going to get Locatelli and McKennie. And up in that 10 roles where it starts to get questionable, but I don't know if Mota's going to trust him. So you might see Fagioli. I think you'll get Fagioli. And then I think you'll get Weah, Yildiz, Vlahovic. That's just right now, really far out, what my gut would say about a lineup. I think it might go that route for Lazio.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if I had to pick a lineup, I'd go pretty much identical. Maybe just like you said, maybe give Cabal a start, let him try out on the left side and move Cambiaso higher up on the right-hand side, and maybe don't start Weah right away. But again, it just depends on fitness. If he's ready to go, then you got to put Weah out there, especially in a game that we so desperately need the points and we need to try to win that game. It's almost like, you know what? We've been calling for it. It dates back to the Cagliari match as well. Go for the win and get your goals early and often, and then you can maybe not sit back. But you know, we touched on this last time. We haven't been going after it. Go get it. Go get the goals and attack and don't be afraid. Stop holding back.
The nice thing about these games, while I said they're critical, Lazio and Inter are big ones, they're not going to be closed. They're not going to be closed off games, which will help us. Will help us in terms of fluidity and be able to go. Obviously, we still have a lot of quality in the team. So in the games that aren't closed off, Lazio won't close it off. Inter's not going to close it off. Like, there'll be open games. We'll get our opportunities. And Conceição will be back for the Inter match. That'll be big. If we can get Cope Miners in that lineup, that'll be a great watch. Those are going to be great games. Great games to watch. But that's what I would expect for an early call for the lineup. Okay? Now, Storm the Barn. Again, there's a lot of speculation around Juve, these injuries. We just got to wait, try and get healthy and everything. The Bremer one just stings so bad. But let's get through some Storm the Barn questions here. If Gigi wore any other jersey, no question, Bianconero hate. Oh, anyone that's arguing Gigi Buffon being the GOAT. Oh, yeah, you know what? I got no time for anything like that. It's always been Gigi. Okay?
100%.
It's always been Gigi. Do you think Lille will let go of David in January? Why will he want to play second fiddle to Duchamp? I actually don't think, and I've said it all along, like they might just bite the bullet now and lose him on a free because he's huge for production for Lille. It makes no sense to me to do it in January at a reduced price rather than just factor that into the cost of what you're getting for the rest of the season and then just say goodbye. It's a brutal situation that they're in. But again, they allowed it to get to this point. So it kind of is what it is. But I can't see it happening. And also, I did say there's mixed reports and everything. And funny enough, I asked two journalists, I text them this past week, and I said, what's the deal with this non-European slot? Because, you know, you guys are feeding rumors that these certain players are possibilities, but there's two slots. Can you or can you not free up that second slot? Is there some type of loophole in there that is feeding these? And one didn't even respond. That tells me a lot. And the second said, I'll have to look into that because, you know, I don't think they're either forgot or they either just want to continue to pump the stuff out there. But We may not be able to. And from what I'm trying to find and trying to read definitive results, I think it's locked. I think it actually 100% is locked. You used to be able to free up a non-European spot mid-season. I don't think you can do that anymore. I don't think you could do it anymore.
Yeah.
So,
well, yeah, I like the only thing I'd say on this is just the only way that I see him leaving Lille or Lille agreeing to sell him mid-season because of, like you said, his form and his production right now would be as if someone's stupid enough to make a crazy offer and just say, he's free in the summer. Who cares? We want him now. 30 million. Here you go. Like,
yeah.
But is a team really that desperate, or are they just going to say, you know what, we'll play chicken and wait it out, right? So,
and that's the thing with the clubs interested in David. I can't see any of them really doing it other than a Prem side. One of the Prem clubs might want to do that, but I doubt it. I doubt it with them going on a free. Can't see it. So we're gonna have to wait. What I anticipate will happen, Juntali will start talking with Jonathan David in January to try and get it locked up for the summer for him to come. Okay?
Yeah.
Dells, will Bremer ever be the same again after this injury? So not just Bremer, but Alberto. I got the confirmation this week. Torn ACL. I've torn my ACL as well. So Bremer and Berto, both on the shelf. Jesus, too. Massive lot. So I went and watched my team's playoff match, and I still finished the season as top scorer. I haven't played in I don't know how long. Okay, and you betcha, I put those boys through the gears and said, "What have you guys been doing? How do I still finish top of the charts for you guys?" I've been gone for like just over a month worth of matches, but jokes aside and stuff, yeah, it sucks. Will Bremer ever be the same? He's a big guy, and it's a little bit dicey for the bigger guys. It's dicey for everybody because you just don't know. Everybody's different and whatnot. I think he'll be just fine. Sports science, what these guys have available to them and everything, I think he'll be just fine. Will he be the exact same? Everybody that I talk to that's played the game at any level, that's gone through this, because now obviously everything's coming out, and with my injury and just talking to friends, talking to people that have played pretty high levels here in Canada, whether it be collegiate. One guy that actually went national here, and he just says it's that first challenge. It's that first challenge. The second you go into that, you come out, you're like, okay, all is good. And then it's like nothing happened. And you just keep going. But the buildup and everything is like in your mind and still fresh. And you're like, trying to build that trust.
Yeah.
But then it's like, it's that first challenge. It's that first 50-50. It's that first full in. And you come out of it, and then you're like, it's as if you never went through that injury, and you just keep going. So I think personally, it's way too soon to speculate or anything like that, but I think Bremer will be just fine. Let's just say it's another way he reminds us of Giorgione. And remember how fast Chiellini came back? Was it like 6 months?
I was just going to say, and he was
37 or something, like 36 or 7 years old.
Mid-30s, and this guy just comes back, and like it looked like he didn't miss a beat. But obviously, everybody who suffers a big injury like that, like I feel like part of them does change. But that being said, even if he doesn't come back as 100% the same Bremer, he's still going to be that guy. It's just a matter of, building up the confidence again. For me, it's just more of like, okay, he's had the surgery, now just recover, take as much time as you need. Don't push it too much and try to come back this year. Obviously, it'd be great. We'd all love to see him in the squad towards the end of the season, especially if we're playing meaningful games down the stretch where we're a couple points out here or there to try to win the Scudetto. Sure, it would be nice to see him, but just recover fully and then get back to training and go from there. One step at a time.
I think he'll be fine. I think he'll absolutely be fine. Not too concerned with it. He'll be allowed the time, And even, you gotta note here from Calogero saying, why didn't Chiesa come back the same? Broken heart emoji. But did he not come back the same physically? Because, like, everything from Chiesa, it had nothing to do with physically for me. Like, he was still quick. He was still fast. He was still making his cuts. He was still taking guys on. Like, I don't think he really changed his game, and maybe that's the issue. I don't know. But I don't know if I'd say the injury did anything other than take away the momentum he had at that time.
Yeah.
But it kind of was fading, so you'll lose a little bit of burst for sure. But yeah, I think Bremer, he'll be fine. Bremer will be fine. But man, Giorgione, what, like 36, 37 years old, 6 months playing again? My God, man.
Yeah.
My God. May my recovery be close to that. Anyways, surgery for Berto, hopefully this winter. Trying to get in pretty quick. So over here in Canada, I don't know how healthcare is from where you're tuning in, but it's considered crazy over here for me to even see my specialist within 4 weeks' time. Yeah. So I got in, saw a specialist. An MRI's already been booked from when he got my referral, which was from 2 weeks ago. I wait for that. And now I wait for surgery. But 4 weeks to see a specialist is actually like crazy fast over here in Canada. Yeah, so
definitely.
We'll see how it goes. I'll keep everybody in the loop. Maybe we'll do like some YouTube shorts once the surgery goes down and everything. We'll just kind of log it. We'll see what happens. Suari, how many points do you see us getting against Lazio, Stuttgart, and Inter in the span of a week? So with Stuttgart, we talked about that Champions League match, and it might still kind of fly under the radar because of Lazio and Inter in the league.
That's the thing.
But I think
it overshadowed.
I think it really becomes like Stuttgart is going to be a pain in the ass game. And the fact that it's sandwiched between Lazio and Inter will make it even more, I think, of a pain in the ass. Lazio, you've got to get the W. That has to be 3 points without a doubt.
Agree.
Stuttgart, it's got to be a win in Champions League as well. Like, it has to be, but it could be very, very tricky because of what's around it. Inter, I want to see coal miners in there. I want to see Conceição in there, and I will go in there very, very confident of what we can do. I'm going to say 6 or 7. 6 or 7.
Yeah, I was pretty much in that same vein. I think it's 7 points because I think we draw against Inter. Now, that being said, I felt a lot more confident prior to Bremer's injury, prior to Coop's injury. So for me, it will really depend on if we get Coop back in the lineup. Chico will be there, obviously. He'll be there on, I think it's a Tuesday game against Stuttgart. He'll be there too for that game. So I'm not too worried about up top and on the wings when it comes to those matches. It's just more if we can get Coop back in there. Unless our boy Dougie steps it up, or even Fagioli just plays out of his mind, and because that midfield is going to be important in that game against Inter. But I'm thinking 7 points. I think we get the win against Lazio. I think it'll be ugly, but I think we squeak one out against Stuttgart, and it's just that Inter game is going to be the wild card.
If you come through unscathed, that's perfect. That's perfect for me. For me, because Alex P's got a great point, is that you need full points domestically. Champions League, we could deal with the draw there. Yeah. And my prediction for the month of October was still and always was no defeats. No defeats. And if we can hold true to that, that'll go a long, long way for Juve. So we'll see. Thoughts on the rumors linking us to Maldini? Man, he's obviously he's with Monza currently. hit form. It's kind of like this thing with these Monza players, like Colpani. I remember Colpani like all last season, and then you get these rumors and everything. But it's like, I think there's a good player there, but like I still just I don't have that confidence yet that it's like, yeah, we should definitely go through this or whatever. But I mean, Maldini, he's young, he's Italian. You could be picking up a guy like at the right time that has a bright future, and we're all about doing that right now with next gen everything and what we're doing with the project. But it's still very, very early for me. Still very, very early for me. I'm just kind of monitoring still right now. So I like that we're linked with him because a lot of the teams are looking at him right now. So I like the fact that we're obviously monitoring it. And I mean, his father was a Juventino, massive Juve fan. So yeah, I mean, it's natural. It's natural. And I'm sure he wants his son to play for the club that he loved growing up and always followed and supported, right? Come on. What are we talking about?
But position of need, he's a forward, right? So I mean, like, it would be nice because it would be like, a young Italian guy coming in a position of need where, maybe he could turn some heads and take the reins and kind of help us out in that from that standpoint. But I'm on the same kind of train of thought as you. It's still too early. Don't get me wrong, it'd be nice, but I don't know if he'd come in right away and even not that he wouldn't play for Juve. I mean, he's playing for Monza, so it's not like he'd go down to next gen right away. But where does he fit in terms of this roster right now? He would almost be a third option, I guess you could say, right? So I guess it would just depend on price point, but I don't know. I think it's okay to let him stay at Monza for maybe another season or two.
He's 23, so maybe older than some think, but he's a forward. He's doing good. I think we don't need to go crazy right now on Daniel Maldini. Just keep tabs like everybody else is,
Yeah.
One of the rumors I do want to talk about, okay? Theo Hernandez. So the rumors of Theo Hernandez coming out, and this is why, Cambiaso hot for the Azzurri. I wanted to talk about Cambiaso because this one came up, and how fitting that Justin happens to be here because he's the one that sparked it all, okay, in the Army chat there. Theo Hernandez, there was the rumors, surfacing. And again, it's international break, everybody, so we just take them, I lay it out for you to play it out. If he doesn't get a renewal, Juve's going to be looking, and Giuntoli might be approaching, okay? This makes a lot of sense because everyone's like, is there any truth to this? Is there any truth to this? I mean, I said, there's absolutely nobody credible saying this, okay? First and foremost, absolutely nobody credible saying this. However, does it make sense that they're putting it out there? Of course, because if there's no renewal there, he becomes a player going into his last contract season. There is no way AC Milan could afford to, and if they did, that would be idiotic, but there is no way they could afford him going into playing his last contract season. Can't do it. So it makes perfect sense. If there's no renewal soon, Juve could visit. I mean, it's plausible. So now we talk about Theo Hernandez. And this is where Justin B really got me fired up, okay? This is where it all stemmed from. I would sell Cambiaso in a heartbeat and bring in Theo Hernandez. That was the comment. I said, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And then from there, you got other members talking and getting fired up and saying, well, what, why? And I said, listen, for me, it's not even a question. I am not getting rid of Cambiaso to bring in Theo Hernandez. If you want to talk about both, okay. Now we're talking. Getting rid of Cambiaso for me is a hell no to bring in Theo. No. This guy cost us 13 million euros, Cambiaso. He is become his versatility is extreme. He's getting interest. So you hear the reports, Prem clubs were coming in, good, healthy offers, 35, 40 million-ish. There's been a lot of speculation. Real Madrid is looking at him, interested. Juve locked him up, put an extension on this kid. Like, they're saying he's untouchable. I always say, if an offer comes in, you got to weigh it out. So let's have some fun and ban those crazy people. Yeah, I'm not, like, straight up. So, Trim, you got to sell Cambiaso to bring in Teo.
No.
Okay.
I like the player, but I would not sell Cambiaso for him, no.
Teo Hernandez on a standalone, okay.
Yes.
Now we're talking, you know? Teo Hernandez on one side, Cambiaso on another. Oh. Where do I sign?
Yeah.
What are we talking about here? Where do I sign? It's 100%. Insane.
I wouldn't swap the two, but have them both in your roster and the back line, man, it's...
Cambiaso rounded out nicely, especially defensively. It's always the thing that it was like kind of looming around him, what he's going to... And I will say, I do credit that to Allegri. If there's one thing I credit to him is how nicely he rounded out Cambiaso. Cambiaso with Mota now can elevate it to a whole nother level. I love Cambiaso. He's quickly becoming one of my absolute favorites in this team. Okay? What do you think? And this was another question that floated around there, but Justin always a little fire starter, okay, in that army chat. Love it. What do you think Cambiaso's value is? If you're going to look at offers, if you're going to think about offers for Cambiaso, what do you think his value is? Chat, what do you guys think this player's value is?
So it's funny because, like, okay, obviously we go crazy and say like 50 plus or whatever, but like if I'm being realistic, what I feel comfortable, like my lowest number that I'd be willing to sell him for as a Juve supporter, or if I'm Juventus management, I think like 50 is ideal. 50 would be ideal, but I think they would be willing to take as low as 45. I think 40 is too low. I think 45 is kind of like that sweet spot. Because obviously if they said no in the summer to 40, I think 45 in and around there. Between 45, 50, that's the sweet spot. 60, even better, of course. But
yeah,
I just don't know. I just don't know if the other teams, I don't see other teams being willing to offer that. I mean, unless it's a Prem team, but they were only willing to offer 50 for Calafiori and we want 60 for Cambiaso. Like, you know what I mean? Like everybody's loving off Calafiori is to me, is Cambiaso on that same, you know, kind of pedestal as Calafiori? I don't know. Like, I mean,
so
I would
this
say
is the
so,
thing. So the report was obviously that there was a Premier League side that came in with an offer for Cambiaso. Okay, it was Aston Villa. They were ready to go to 35 or 40 mil for the player. Okay, and nothing happened there. Giuntoli considers him non-transferable. And it just says, meanwhile, Real Madrid are also monitoring Cambiaso, who dreams of becoming Juve's captain in the future. This is from Nico Skier, and we've heard this a lot. 35 is way too low.
No, yeah, way
60,
too low, for sure.
I'd love 60, you know? I think it's a little high. I'm somewhere around 45 to 50 for Cambiaso's current value. That said, now that we've kind of talked about where we think he is, if that offer came, would you sell him? If that offer came in the summer, 50 million euros, they want him, do you sell? Doesn't matter how this season goes. Have you already seen enough to make that decision and say no?
That's tough because for me it always depends on what's your alternative, what's your solution to replacing him, right? And there's nothing that jumps out or stands out to me right now in this moment. So I think I'd have to say no. And that's just for right now.
I say no.
Yeah.
I'm a no. I don't, this guy again, and maybe even to say 45, yeah, maybe you could say 60. I'm 45 to 50. Maybe he could go 60 because the versatility he carries alone is massive. Like it's massive. I don't know. Like for me, it's a no. I'm not selling this guy. Future Capitano, 100%. But it's interesting to kind of have this discussion now and see what way Juve goes, because I actually do think we're going to find out. I think in the coming summer, there's going to be healthy offers coming forward for this player. And then we will kind of learn about Giuntoli, this Juventus, and kind of where we're going. Because a lot of the fear has been when you move to a very young project, are you in fact building? Are you in fact going to be able to keep everybody together? Are you starting to lean towards a stepping stone? Are you starting to, and that's the classic term for these teams, the sellers. Are you starting to lean towards that? We still have financial work to do. It's going to be interesting, and I think we're going to be faced with it. There's going to be teams coming in for Cambiasso in the summer.
Oh, yeah.
Mark my words. 100%. 100%. Will Juve stay true to it despite the offers? Will it depend on the offers, or will he truly be untouchable? For me, I'm hoping he is untouchable, because I think he's got everything. He possesses everything that I would want us to have in one of the pillars we build a team around. He's got it all. He checks all the boxes. Versatile, works his ass off, never complains, will do everything in his power while he's on the pitch, no matter what his role is, where he's playing, tries to impact the game from any of those positions that he plays. And he loves the club, wants to be here. It's his dream to be a Juve captain. I'm going to do everything in my power to keep this guy around, Yeah. But for a guy like Hanin, who's saying, if you think he's only worth 45 in this market, you're crazy. Well, what do you think his market value is? And it's the same question. If that offer comes in, would you sell him? If you think he's worth 80, if an 80 million offer comes in the summer, do you say no to 80 million on a guy who spent 13 on? It's kind of one of those things. How far does that money go, right?
Yeah.
It's a crazy thing to think about, right? So it's always tough to say untouchable. It's always tough to say untouchable. Because, and again, I don't see anybody coming in for 80 million for the guy. I think we're pretty close around 50, to be honest, of where his value's at. 35 million from Villa this past summer. After this season with Motta, I actually believe we could see 45.
Yeah.
I'm still leaning towards no. Anyways, it's a great discussion to have. Justin B got us all wound up and fired up. I think that was Wednesday or Thursday, but I love it. Wouldn't have it any other way. Cambiasso for me right now, non si tocca. Non si tocca.
Agreed.
Okay? Locatelli. Is Forza Juve coming in here? Is Locatelli our best midfielder so far this season? Yes, Cope has been amazing, but I still feel like Luca has been world class in his role this season and a cut above Cope Miners and the rest. So, Trim, why don't you kick us off on this one? Has Locatelli been our best midfielder so far?
Consistency-wise, yes. Especially considering, last season and even the season before, he's had a couple of up and down seasons for us, needless to say, with inconsistency in play and just Max's style of play and all that kind of stuff. So I would say in terms of consistency and what he's shown game in and game out, I think he has been our best midfielder. Now, in terms of best midfielder overall, throughout the entirety of the season, I would still think Coop is going to show that he's the top dog. But for as of right now, Locatelli's been our best midfielder.
I think if I'm going to say this, and everybody knows where I stand with Locatelli, I've always fought the fight, dying on this hill. It's different it's tough to say like best midfielders so far this season because you have to look at the importance of what the midfielders are doing. Defensively, I think Gatti's been tremendous. Bremer's, there's nothing to say about Bremer, but sadly we lost him. Kalulu, amazing. Defensively is Luca's highlight. Okay, he's been strong and he's been progressing the ball very, very well. But the importance will be the offense, the attack, and breaking down teams, especially domestically, because that's where we're going to see 80% of the time. Cope Miners, I can't stress this enough. If you go back and watch his first showing for Juve and you watch each one, it's getting a bit better and better and better and better. I'd still lean towards, so far, Locatelli's been our best midfielder. Okay, just in terms of the consistency and everything like that. But I don't think Cope Miner's far off, and I think Cope Miner's role out of all the midfielders is going to become the most important. And it already kind of is. Because we need to break these teams down, because that's how they're going to face us. You got all this firepower in your lineup. Teams are going to want to clamp down, close things off. Cope Miners, it'll probably be the most important and will end up being the best. Okay? But right now, Luca's off to a great start. We take it, but he's going to have competition. Fagioli ain't going to go anywhere. Fagioli ain't going to go anywhere for that role. He could be overtaken if Fagioli can hold down defensively enough, which will also change without Bremer. So there's a lot of factors that are going to play in. McKennie and Thuram, I think, are now going to battle for that other spot. Luiz, he's got to find a home, and he's got to do so quickly. For me, it's further up the pitch. Fagioli now has shown you he can lock things down, clamp things down at the heart. Him and Luca in a rotation there, I'm happy. Because I also think it gets weird when they are together, especially as pivots. It's weird. So avoid that. You could rotate them. Fagioli can also offer support higher up. Luiz, I'd use him higher up. Thuram and McKennie battling for that other spot there. So we'll see how it goes. But as far as Locatelli goes, it's hard to say he isn't our best so far.
Right now, yeah.
9 games through.
We have to preface it with right now, but throughout the entirety of the season, we'll see. It depends now with Coop's injury. That kind of throws a wrench in there too, because who knows how he'll recovery time, and we'll see. But I think overall it'll end up being Coop.
Yeah. Alex P, yay or nay to Skriniar? I don't think he's good enough. Benefited a lot from Conte, but alone with PSG, covering his salary would be a good deal. Well, we kind of got into the Skriniar earlier there on that rumor. I don't think there's much. Honestly, I don't really have a lot to add other than I would just recall somebody before going to this guy. I never really rated him that high in the first place. I just don't like him. I don't like the guy. I was never big on the player. I thought he's like an awkward, taller, kind of clumsy guy. I think he's better in a back three. I think I'm not really sold. Not really sold on this being a move like we absolutely have to, if you can just simply recall somebody and if one of those guys could have a future with you. That's all I think, Trev, we've kind of said the same.
Never really jumped off the page when I saw it. I just kind of glossed over it, and I was like, another rumor. Okay, kind of scroll down, as it's coming along your Twitter feed. But I think there's definitely better options out there, even internally, in terms of recalling someone back from loan, even if it's one of those young guys and not Rugani, like Facundo Gonzalez or Muharemovic. Like, I'd much rather. Crazy enough, I'd much rather have those guys. Skriniar not for our club. No.
Storm the Barn, if you have any. We got a little bit of time left. We're getting ready to wrap up. I've had a lot of fun here. Live chat, thank you. These international breaks, it's always nice to just get things out of the way, just hash things out. A couple things we got to highlight. Greece 2-1 over England.
Yeah, like where'd that come from? Brings
Did you
back
see that goal, by the way? Oh my God,
yeah,
what a blunder. What a
yeah.
blunder. But hey, the Greeks will take it. The Greeks
Oh
will
yeah,
take it. Football will take it.
yeah.
Sorry to any Juve fans who are also English football fans, okay? But, you know, you kind of bring it on yourself with all this it's coming home stuff, so it is what it is. One
Yeah.
thing that the international break brought us, which we should all be happy, is the fact that we finally hear Domenico Berardi is not of interest to Juventus. Mimo, please, man. Hey. EA Sports and Domenico Berardi making me have to send days out on Thanksgiving weekend here in Canada, okay? My God. But thank God. Yes, thank
I was just
God.
gonna say we have a lot to be thankful for this weekend. I guess you can throw that in your Thanksgiving things to be thankful for list.
I will. I will. So obviously, Thanksgiving
Uh,
weekend, you guys can look forward to some content involving my father. Okay, we're gonna have another Ask Geo
oh,
session. So if you guys have questions you want him to tackle around Juve or even the Azzurri, fire them at us through any of the socials. We're gonna have fun with Geo over Thanksgiving weekend and put together a nice little short. His his
oh
answers
man,
just kill me, man. It just
I
kills me.
can't wait for it. It's gonna be the man, the myth, the legend, Gio, just giving some spitting hot takes on the Azzurri
I
lineup.
know, and I
Maybe.
didn't have my stuff set up. After I saw him after the 3:30 a.m. match against Cagliari, and oh my God,
Oh,
I was he had me in stitches there with just his rundown, his overview after that game. My God, I was dying. I was dying. I wish I had the stuff sent in, but where do you submit the questions? Any of our socials. So obviously DMs, Twitter are the easiest, okay? Or you can even do it in the comments here on this show, and I'll grab them, okay? So just drop them in the comments, not the live chat after the show ends. Drop them
yeah.
in the comments, okay? One more. Oh yes, we had to talk about Delict. Delict.
Oh,
So
yes.
who was it? It was Ruud Kroll. Ruud
Kroll,
Kroll,
yeah.
who just came out and said, look, this guy was at Juventus. He was doing fantastic under Allegri. Decided he was going to leave and has been brutal ever since. Like, just raking him over the coals. And I saw several Juventini come in. I kind of laughed at the post and everything, saying I would take him back in a heartbeat.
It's very controversial. I know there's a few accounts out there. I've seen it too, and I don't know. Like, don't get me wrong. I appreciated and liked the guy when we first got him and everything. But like, I mean, you've seen how it's turned out. I don't know. I could never bring someone like that back, especially now with the way his play has dropped off and deteriorated in his form, and it's not good. It's not good. We don't need that back at our club, and not for the money that we'd have to spend to get him. Like, no, no, he can stay at Man U or go wherever else, but just no, he's not coming back. Definitely would not take him back.
The handball, you love to see it. No, thank you. I'm dead serious. For cheap, I would definitely
Oh my
take him
God,
back.
Justin. Oh my God, this guy.
Justin's just, he's that guy, okay? I had to put the poll question out here, and now we got an immediate storm the barn. Or excuse me, where is it? Delict as a Bremer replacement. On
Mm.
loan. On
No,
loan.
no,
Back on loan.
no, no, definitely not. Not just no. Keep him away. Keep him away as far as possible. His form could change. He can regain his form, but no, no,
On
definitely don't want
loan as the Bremer replace. You know what? And this is one of those things where I fight feelings, personal emotions with this guy. I'm going to put it this way. I love this club. I love this club so much. Juve means everything to me, okay? I don't think this prick deserves it.
him. Yeah, exactly.
Okay? I'm just going to be flat out. I don't think he deserves it. And I actually do think I always thought, even through the scramble of what was going on with shitty leadership and poor management over the past 4 years, I still will always say it's a privilege to be at this club. What he got, okay, the money, the treatment coming from Ajax, all this, got to learn, got to study from two of the best to ever do it, okay? And then to have nothing but garbage to say when you leave. And the nonsense you're talking about, okay? Ruud Krul thrashed him, raked him over the coals with his assessment of him. And it was all defensive. Ruud Krul forgot that De Ligt wanted to score goals. It was about attack, and we don't play attacking football. The guy's an idiot. He fucked up, and he doesn't deserve it in my mind. And maybe that's just the fan in me coming out, but 69% of you on the poll say no. You don't take De Ligt back. I don't think he deserves it.
No.
Okay, 71% now. I don't think he deserves it, personally. And you could say I'm being rash, I'm being emotional because I'm a fan. Forget it. Forget it. He got raked over the coals by Ruud Krul, and he was 100% right. He's been garbage since leaving, okay? And as far as him, he had nothing but garbage to say about our play. He made it sound like he was a winger starving for goals. Buddy, you're a center back. You're mad that you have to spend the majority of your time defending? The guys that you learned from loved it, fed off that, lived it. I'll never forget also Fabio Cannavaro. When they go down a man with the Azzurri, 2006 World Cup, and he looked over at the substitute. It was Barzagli.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Are you ready for this? Now it gets fun." Oh my God. Chills, man. Chills. Come on, man.
Yeah.
He ain't cut. He doesn't deserve it. It's a no. And you know what? De Ligt's going to... EA Sports, okay? Mimo Berardi, and now De Ligt, all on Thanksgiving weekend, okay? Guys make me dish out the days. What the hell are we talking about? But no, I don't think we need to panic for the back line. I still say, get me a Vice Vlahovic in January, and I'm happy. Recall somebody from loan at the back, and we're safe. We don't... Yeah. This is how I feel, and I said it. You don't find a Bremer replacement like that. You're not going to do it. And you're not going to do it in January. So just stay calm. Find yourself a safety net. Kalulu and Gatti are kind of cooking. And I do get that you want a higher quality player to come in. You don't just want like Muremovic coming back. No disrespect to him, the youngster. You know, Facundo, Rugani. That's why Rugani's been reliable for the past few years. Means nothing financially to you. Makes the most sense.
Yeah, agree.
Just recall him. You're good. You're stable. But find a vice to Vlahovic. By the way, the latest on Vlahovic, discussions are set to start at the end of this month. Kind of feel where everybody's at. But all the reports steady saying that Giuntoli and Juve and Vlahovic want to stay together and keep moving forward. So take that for whatever the hell it's worth, everybody, and enjoy your weekends. To the Canadians, happy Thanksgiving. Wishing you all nothing but the best and a lot of good family time and good food, good eats. Trim's been an absolute blast today. Thanks for joining me, my man. And take it easy on the rink there tomorrow, okay? Take it easy out there at hockey. You know?
I'll be starfishing it a little bit tomorrow. Probably be pushing me around, but no.
And don't worry about me. I will be taking it easy again.
Yeah.
Torn ACL, but the journey starts here. Let's see how she goes. Live chat, drop a like, and again, reminder: ask Gio. The second this ends, drop your questions around Juve or even the Azzurri to my pops, and we're going to put it in the content coming out with him over Thanksgiving weekend, okay? So drop it there. Again, guys, absolute pleasure. Take care. Enjoy yourselves. I'll keep you up to date with all the news around Juventus moving forward. As always, fino alla fine. Forza Juventus. Ciao tutti. Take care. Oh, yeah. We had issues last time. Outros. It's going to be a hard stop, everybody. Hard stop.